a dolphin that was it was beached as a child, and we went and we nursed it back to health, and you know, we raised it. It was gonna die.
Wow, that's
without
beautiful.
us.
That's that's beautiful.
Yeah, so we put it in the pool at Max and Siobhan's wedding. So
I gotcha.
I don't think you like the chlorine though.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Adam Slacks.
Uh-huh.
How the hell am I supposed to know who Mean Girl is?
Oh, that's Rue.
I literally, I
okay.
swear I was just about to say it's probably Rue Day. I literally was gonna say that.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna put. I will go through your phone and make sure it's back to you probably within the hour. I'll try and get it back to you before your court case. I just yeah. I'm mixing up the phones.
Yeah. Yeah. Rue. Yeah. God bless her soul. She wants to go to church together. One day.
It's
all good.
Pit stop somewhere.
No, it's all good.
Ain't Rue a criminal?
Yeah. And I told her
I'd
that's
say
the
which
reason why.
one, but all of them that have that name, yeah.
She's definitely a criminal. She wants my house key, and I said, listen, you get your record expunged, and we can talk about it.
Even with an expungement, that's a risky proposal, in my opinion.
You know what I'm gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
I'm putting a barrier in front of that observation door.
Hello, can somebody come get me, please? I'm trapped in the basement.
Oh,
Xavier.
Xavier.
Help!
Tackle his ass!
Oh, Xavier, you need
Oh
to
God!
Xavier,
please take me outside. I can't see anything.
Oh,
Look through your eyes.
Ah, oh, we're good. All right, thank God.
are you better? Are you good?
Yeah, we're set.
Okay.
I didn't know where the hell I was. I couldn't see anything.
All good.
Can somebody run me to the courthouse real quick, just so I can get paid?
Yes. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay. All right. I have a solution. Would you guys like a minute to actually talk?
yeah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Might as well. Yeah, not a problem. I'll make sure this is all good. All right. I'm gonna be putting a cone in front of the doors because I don't want anyone trying to snoop.
Thank you.
Not a problem. All right. What do these outfits Flop and Barrack have on for? So the reason that the outfits are on is because Flop and Barrack wants us to be as neutral as humanly possible. They're not out here trying to big dick anybody. They're not out here trying to, use rank against one another. We're not out here trying to essentially, for lack of a better term, ruin or take away from the actual purpose, and that's neutrality. So they've respectfully taken off, they've taken off their stripes and stuff. They're simply just here to essentially be a neutral party while also, doing the investigation. What's up, Cat? How you doing? So if anyone's just tuning in, we are interrogating Captain Slacks right now. Yeah. Uh. Uh. All right. There we go. What did our captain do? Treason. We might be losing a captain. They're having a moment to just speak during their break.
Perfect.
Do you like what I did? I created a solution.
I don't know.
Literally nobody into.
You scared the fuck out of Stubble. That's for sure. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know if
know.
it's gonna stop anybody else. From
Damn,
coming
you're
in,
right.
like-
Poor Stubble just shuddered.
All right, so real quick, how do you guys think it's going? What's your take? What's your opinion?
I think it's going pretty good so far.
Okay.
We know, as far as we know, I should say, not that we know, as far as we know, I guess from direct information and from what we've heard, obviously, there is only so much that has been brought forward regarding, I guess, slacks in the matter. And I think the fact that we are getting maybe a little bit more context to the demeanor in that room, I think is probably the healthiest of both worlds that we're going to get with slacks. I think him sort of giving his judgment based on how he knows Captain Ruth. And I think based on who else was in that room and sort of the energy that was happening in that room is going to help us, follow down that line with probably Captain Turner. And then who I would have to presume our last person we're going to speak to with all the information is going to be Captain Ruth.
Right. Yep. I think it's also interesting that because we haven't talked to the mayor alone yet, having these conversations with the captains prior to that might actually empower us to go back to that conversation and have a bit more fruitful conversation with him.
I think a lot of good will come out of this.
Yeah.
Regardless of
be honest.
what we find.
So far, do I see a crime that's been committed yet? Borderline at best. I see unprofessional behavior.
Sure.
And now with the new law, the way it is, essentially insubordination, although it wasn't that way then, right? So definitely some behavioral conduct questions for somebody in a captain's position, but nothing that's necessarily illegal yet.
I think what this comes down to is, and maybe this is the way that I view it, the presumption of, I guess, the hyperbole is where we are going to struggle with proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Because it is up to the assumption of Captain Slacks that what was stated was hyperbole or hyperbolic or however you want to explain it. And I think because of that, we struggle with a little bit of a fine line to follow in regards to, I guess, what's really going to come down to is how Captain Turner responds to that if it was hyperbole. The question is Captain Ruth also going to state hyperbole? And if that's the case, where does that put us? Because right now, I agree. I don't see a crime right now. But I think the assumption based on hyperbole is one thing. The issue that we fall into is the only person in that room at that time, the only people in that room at that time who would have believed otherwise would be the mayor.
Correct. I
'Cause
think that
go ahead.
it also, if we see see, I'm sure that because Turner and Slacks talked to Crane about it, they're both probably going to say the same thing. It was hyperbole. The question is did they talk to Ruth about it? And I'm going to ask that very directly. I did find it interesting.
Who talked to Ruth?
Oh, I know. I'm saying I'm going to ask if they talked to Ruth about their conversation with Crane. But I bounced around a little bit, just kind of because it felt like the more I pried into that line of questioning, the more he got defensive. So I started like asking about other things and then going back to that line of questioning. If you caught on, because it's no good if he's just going to continue to be resistant to the question, right? So if he was a bit resistant, then I kind of like focus on something else, go back, focus on something else, go back. Seemed to be okay. Seemed to get some results, but we'll see. This next line of questioning is going to be a bit more interesting because I don't know the answers to these questions I'm going to ask. And so we'll see where this takes us. But Barrick, I don't think I told you yet. My intention is to ask about what Siobhan told us about with the Captain Ruth situation and security detail, etc. Because I was actually made aware that there is a security detail that was provided for.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And there was not for the mayor.
Correct.
There's a little bit of context there, being of which the Cantor believed that she was being targeted. So, like, kind of specifically asked for.
Gotcha.
As far as I recall. So
Siobhan was being targeted by Vingle Dan.
By the way, if you guys do want to discuss the interrogation, please feel free to join my Discord and discuss in the meta chat. That is there for you guys. That is not there for me. That is specifically there for you guys to have an honest discussion.
The case, then either one, there's dereliction of duty, or two, you have someone who doesn't care if a council member is harmed, and that's concerning, and that could be a crime. Because I do believe, I think the Vingle Dan thing, he showed he's a credible threat. He fucking cut somebody's arm off. That's not nothing. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
No, definitely.
I do think that, like, obviously the mayor's demeanor and you know, shouting and yelling and whatever, I think obviously that's not great, but I mean, also not illegal, but definitely not great for a professional conversation. But there's nobody higher than the mayor to tell the mayor to settle his ass down. So that's kind of the difference, I guess.
No, definitely.
But I agree. You probably shouldn't be shouting at PD and things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say though, like the couple of things that I've seen when I've seen him like get upset with PD. I think you guys were actually, I don't know, Flop, were you in the meeting with Cornwood? I don't remember. Eric, you were there for sure, right?
Which one?
Thing upstairs when Cornwood got his job back.
No, I was not there.
Yeah, because he seemed irritated, but I didn't see him lash out in that meeting. And when we were outside MRPD, you know, I saw the mayor again, irritated. I don't know if I would say he was lashing out, though. It seemed like he's just trying to, like, it feels like they're trying to make more of this public and less behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's because people in the public aren't seeing change, and that's the concern. And that's why
I mean, if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's that. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, exactly. But
interesting. I give them a moment to talk. I'll go bug them and see what their consensus is and go from there. See if they're ready. Knock knock.
I would need permission to do that. I can't.
Knock, knock.
25 daps.
To yourself.
You
You
can
good.
come in,
But-
Flop.
Okay. I'm just asking if you guys were ready. If you needed a couple more minutes.
I feel like we're ready. What do you think, Cornwood?
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Okay.
You guys are ready?
Also, the nightstick thing today. I mean, that was excessive.
All
That's
right.
why
God.
All right. They're gonna be ready.
I know exactly which one is. Well, it's a different thing. He's like,
I was just
let's
curious.
find it.
All right. You ready to get this started?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's do it.
Do it.
My baton.
Anybody remember the last question I had?
So he understood it was an accident. Okay.
Yeah, there was no
So
Sam
but
Best on
it
that one.
made no real impact, right?
No, it made impact, and he was hurt,
it
and
did,
he had to be
okay.
treated. But
Uh huh.
You guys good?
All right.
Yeah.
We all
we're
set to
good.
turn on the recording again and everything?
Sure thing. I'll go through my spiel and then we'll pick up where we were. As long as you guys are ready. Anybody need food or water or anything? Perfect.
I should be good for a little bit.
All right. Let me go through my little spiel again. This way it's all on recording. I believe we are missing somebody. Who are we missing?
We're missing Roman, and since he's a paralegal, he does not have the lawyer train, so it's fine.
Okay.
He said we could go on without him, and yeah, I'm just glad that he was able to be here earlier to learn. So
Yeah, of
thank you.
course. Absolutely. Perfect. Awesome. So we are going to have the exclusion of one. This is going to be recording number 2 in what I would hope to be a series of only 2. The date is still March 2nd, 2024. Time is currently 12:55 local, 2:30 a.m. EST. Captain Slacks, you have allowed us to refer to you as Captain Slacks for the remainder of the interrogation. I'd like to remind you that you are still under Miranda.
understood.
Xavier, is there anything else that you want to bring up before continuing?
No, I'll just reiterate that Captain Slacks has waived any conflicts of interest as likely as Cornwood. And I'll just make sure, Captain Slacks, are you ready to proceed?
Yeah.
All conflicts have been waived.
Very good. Anything else, Flop, on your side?
Nope, not unless you have something, Barrick. I think we are good to continue
No, I'm
and
good.
proceed. Okay, perfect. Then we are good from the prosecution side.
All right. I know we had the last question that we asked. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember what it was. I know there was some talk about phones and photos. So did you have any conversations with the captains about the potential treason investigation that would be going on?
That is up to you if you want to answer that or not.
Can you elaborate more? What do you mean by that exactly? Because, can you ask the question in a more specific way? Because there's a lot of conversation that were had.
Let me just state something to you. Right, there was obviously a situation that happened outside of MRPD where you posed to DOJ, any lawyer who wishes to take the case against Captain Ruth for potential treason, step forward. I stepped forward. Prior to that, did you have any conversations with any captains about the investigation or potential investigation into the charges of treason for Captain Ruth?
We discussed if there's probable cause. That's what we discussed. Because to us, it felt like if there's probable cause, then it should be investigated. It should be looked into as far as that. And we should allow an independent prosecutor to come in and take a look at it from, a third-party perspective. Say, yes, there is treason happening here, and let's pursue it in the docket. So that was my thought process. Though after our discussion, is to make sure that we want to make sure that there is accountability here in the police department, and if a captain does something out of line, they're also held as responsible.
Is it standard operating procedure when an officer is being investigated for a crime for you to provide that potential charge to a special investigator to proceed with an investigation, or was this a special case?
This is something we're trying to. This is something that I personally, as far as our conversation, are trying to push for to not allow any, conflict or bias or, working relationship to get in the way of good faith prosecution.
Okay. And you said that you had discussed whether or not there was probable cause. What was your determination at that time, or did you not make one?
My determination, there was no probable cause for treason, especially after speaking with the Chief Justice.
Okay. And did you participate in or overhear any discussions or comments that indicated that the police department would be considered an equal branch of government?
I believe that Captain Ruth has brought something like that up. I think something about the PD being like a branch of government. I don't remember the exact wording. I'm just remembering.
What are the three branches of government to your knowledge?
Well, you got executive branch, right?
He doesn't know because I don't know either.
And then legislation one.
Okay, he's better than I was. This is not recording, so anybody listening to this is gonna know that I'm a moron.
So, to your understanding, the police department is not a branch of government, correct?
I'm not sure actually, as far as that, because having a seat at the city council, I thought we were a branch of government, but it was explained to me that that was not the case afterwards.
Ah, okay.
Just can I clarify real quick?
Yes, sure.
Do you understand being a government employee doesn't necessarily mean that you're specifically part of your department's a part of one of the three branches of government?
I understand that. The way I see myself as, local authority in the city of San Andreas.
Yeah, I would argue that the police department falls under the Department of Justice, right? You're the officers of the peace, and lawyers are the officers of the court, and then you have the judiciary judges, right? So, okay, all right. With that being said, I'm going to ask you about another scenario. Does the police department generally provide security details when there's a credible threat against an individual?
Absolutely.
You can answer that if you want to, but speculation and all. You can ask for clarification on a situation. The one speculated was pretty broad.
If you could just give me an example, it'd be great. But if requested and if a threat, yes.
Okay. Would a security detail be warranted if there was a credible threat against a city council member?
Yes.
Have you provided security details to city council members in the past?
That's up to you if you recollect it, but don't guess.
I cannot guess on that. I don't recall is my answer.
Are you aware that there's a security detail applied to a city council member as early as yesterday?
That was correct. That was the point of contact.
Okay. Are you aware of any other requests for a security detail by
yes,
someone who has a credible threat?
Yes.
Okay, who else?
If you don't mind asking, what does this have to do with the investigation?
This is all tied to Captain Ruth. And I have reason to believe, based on statements collected at this point in time, that there may be a crime that was committed. And I have questions about it. And these are all questions pertaining to that.
A crime other than the treason?
Correct. Something that came up during the investigation.
Okay. Captain Slacks, if you have any information on that, you can share that if you want to. But again, I recommend that you don't speculate.
I'm not going to speculate because, like I said, I am one of the investigators in this case.
I'm only asking for your firsthand direct knowledge if there was any other city council member who was recommended for a security detail at any point in time in the last, let's call it 7 days.
Quick question for my clarification. What's the difference between somebody being recommended for it and somebody specifically asking for it on their own behalf?
In this case, an officer made the recommendation
That as a council member should be protected.
by a security detail by the police department. Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. If you know about that, you can answer that. If you don't, I suggest not speculating or guessing. Slacks?
I don't want to speculate on the matter. I know that threats have been made to multiple members of City Council.
Okay. Are there any credible threats that you're aware of so far?
Define credible.
Someone who has a history of violence, who has perpetrated crimes against people in government before, somebody who is likely to potentially commit the things they are saying that they might do.
There were threats being made, and it seemed like the threats were being they fall through, and people got hurt. And that's all I have to say as far as that investigation, because it is ongoing.
It's an ongoing investigation. Okay. Understood. I think, can we pause the recording for a moment?
Sure thing. I'd like to just quickly advise, audio recording is being paused at 2:40 a.m. EST, local time here in the state of San Andreas, 14:27. Okay.
Okay. I just want to cut through a little bit of the BS. I know that we have credible threats for many things that are going on, and so I just want to get to the point. Are these threats the open investigation? I'm not asking for
Yeah. So
details about it.
Yeah. So I mean, these threats are credible because somebody followed through with them, and one a city council members or a city council member has been hurt, and one is hiding right now, fearing for her life.
Okay. Can you just tell me which city council member it is? So I know if it's the same one I'm referring to in my line of question.
Perhaps you should tell him who you're thinking of, so he doesn't disclose something that he shouldn't.
All I'll say is if it's the person that you mentioned in the hallway, Xavier, it is not them.
It's not them. Okay.
No.
Okay. Perfect.
It is not the it is not the main two fish.
Okay. So in that case, then that's fine. I'm going to proceed with my line of questioning. Whatever you're talking about with these other city council members, I'm not looking for answers for them. I'll be clear. The one I'm referring to specifically is for Siobhan. Has there been anything like that for her?
I mean, Siobhan has been attacked on multiple occasions and multiple times by different kind of people and different kind of groups. Unfortunately, she's been a target often, and it's frustrating. I'll be honest.
All right, we're gonna turn the recording back on. I'm gonna resume this line of questioning with Siobhan in mind, and we'll get to there. Okay.
Hold on. Can I have a moment with Captain Slacks before we turn the recording back on?
How long are you needing, Cletus? We're kind of on a timeline.
Two minutes for time. Okay.
2 minutes.
You get 2
minutes.
Thank you.
Yep, not a problem.
Really not trying to be a jerk, but we're really fucking
No. I mean, well, it's okay. Cornwood could say all he wants. Little does he know the person he's currently defending or is in the room for also has to leave for the same fucking case.
Right,
so
exactly.
He's only got so much time, but so just
there.
You're good. Just from my understanding, what is the approach you're going for on this specifically? I might be a little just lost in the dust.
So
per se,
I don't know. I think I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a stretch, but I do think if it properly articulated, it's possible to argue Captain Ruth denied Siobhan a security detail when she was being pursued by Vingle Dan. This guy actually chased her all over Sandy Shores, chased her to MRPD where she sat in the lobby. Officer Louise Campbell made the recommendation to Captain Ruth to give her a security detail. Captain Ruth declined that. And this came up during the conversation for treason when we were interrogating or taking a statement from Siobhan.
That's interesting. Okay.
So my argument is, and again, I don't know, this could be a stretch. I haven't decided yet. But reckless endangerment is a person creates a substantial risk of serious physical injury to another person. The accused person isn't required to intend the resulting or potential harm, but must have acted in a way that showed disregard for the foreseeable consequences of their actions. It's articulatable that that could be the case by denying the security detail for a sitting city council member, a member of a 8-person legislative branch of government that, you know, that had serious irreparable potential harm for Siobhan. So again, I'm not saying that we have that charge, but I'm inquiring about it because I think it's relevant. It somewhat also shows retaliation because it happened after the meeting in the mayor's office.
So something that will get brought up in
All right,
question.
we're ready.
All good. My only question is, what's the timeline for that? Because my last bench trial, judge ripped me out a new one for not having a proper timeline. Do you see the timeline making sense for that based on when the situation occurred in the mayor's office?
I think I don't think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the timeline is really the point here. The point is more of her motives and her
Exactly. It was intentional.
how she feels about, you know.
No, that's fine. But if we're using the grounds of the incident that occurred in the mayor's office as grounds of evidence for what happened with this, then I do think that there is relevancy to just ask what the timeline was.
I mean,
but
it
that's
was within a couple days of
okay.
situation. It wasn't. We're not talking. I mean, it's been less than, you know, like a week since it happened, right? So it was. We took her statement like 3 days ago, Barrick. So it would have been much closer to the day that this happened.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I just, as long as a judge doesn't try and turn that around, if this were to go somewhere, and defense would definitely challenge the timeline of questioning, which is why I'm playing devil's advocate on that. But that's fine. We'll go in, finish this up, and we'll talk after.
Yep, makes sense.
Cool.
All right.
Okay,
Entering in.
But you did that. You made that call.
You guys good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go and turn the recording on. Hey, Charles, how you doing? All right. This is going to be recording number 3. It is still March 2nd, 2024. All parties that were involved in recording number 2 are still present in the room. Captain Slacks, which once again you have allowed us to refer to you that as, for the remainder of this interrogation, I'd like to remind you that you are still under Miranda, and obviously I forget the wave of statement that was stated for Cornwood, but essentially waiving bias. That whole thing.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. That one.
Yep. All right. I'm just going to get back into it because we are strapped for time. So, Captain Slacks, are you aware of any requests made by Officer Louise Campbell for a security detail for one Siobhan Thoroughbred?
I don't usually interact with a Louise Campbell, but I do remember ever since the couple incidents after Fingal Dan has been, and the Sonia Summers case with Jesse Adler, where they've been coming down to City Hall and attempted to hurt and kidnap the mayor and the first lady. And when the public announcements are being made that we send officers down there to make sure that we're being proactive, hell, I've been down there myself twice. I've called people down there on the radio when they do those public announcements, because a lot of times folks do use that opportunity to kidnap somebody or hurt somebody.
Okay. And what do you know about Officer Campbell? Is she an officer?
Absolutely. I mean, she was one of the people who's looked for skeleton crew.
Okay. And do you trust her judgment?
1,000%.
If she brought a request to have a security detail for a sitting city council member, would you honor it?
Yeah, I mean, if she brought me information as a credible threat and it's happening, absolutely.
Okay. Are you aware that Captain Ruth was presented with this exact scenario but declined said security detail?
That is news to me.
Captain Ruth never made mention of this to you.
I don't recall ever having a conversation about something like this.
Is that something that captains would normally discuss?
I mean, this is something that could be handled is from shift to shift to shift because things kind of change depending on the environment we deal with and what kind of criminals out there. So I can't really answer much on that because I don't have much details as far as what you're talking about right now. That would be more of a shift one matter that I don't really attend to often because I'm a shift two guy.
Okay. So captains don't discuss when officers make them aware of credible threats against city council members?
No, I'm saying that if there was discussion, I don't recall, and I don't remember having a discussion about it. That's what I
understood. Okay. I just want to make sure I clarified that. Okay. Have you heard Captain Ruth speak out about the mayor or the first lady?
I would like to ask in what regard?
I mean, there seems to be a tumultuous relationship between the three. I'm asking if he's heard her speak out against them.
If you want to answer that, you can if you have knowledge of that, but please don't speculate.
I cannot speculate on that because I haven't seen Ruth ever since the incident we talked about, or it's been maybe a day after I saw her, and we didn't have much conversation about that. It was mostly about the matters of the PD.
Okay. And did you discuss the investigation or how you would answer questions with either of the captains?
No, because that would definitely compromise the investigation. What we said is, you go in there, you answer things truthfully, and obviously, if you are either investigated or it hits a docket, we agreed that you'd be placed on indefinite suspension.
Is Captain Ruth suspended now?
She is.
Who suspended her?
We agreed that she would be suspended, and based on our talk and what I gathered from the whole conversation is, once this hits a docket, she'd be suspended. However, there is an additional thing that you could add, that if you are being investigated as an officer, that's a possibility, but it's not something we agreed on. But that might be her reason to, step back and not be on duty and not potentially look at anything that could be happening while the investigation is going on. So that would be my speculation on things. But as far as what we agreed on and what I gather from our conversation is, once it's a docket is when you go indefinitely suspended.
Okay. And was there any discussions that you're aware of amongst the police department in regards to, you know what? So following the incident at the mayor's office, were you involved in any subsequent meetings or discussions with the other captains or police officers regarding the relationship between the police department and the mayor's office?
There was a lot of discussion about the legislation mostly. That was the hot topic of the whole thing. I think it was mostly about the new legislation, how things are going to change, what's going to happen, what's the mayor going to do, how are we going to deal with this, what should we do? Do we work with the mayor? Do we talk to the chief justice and figure out what's going on? I mean, there was a lot of discussions going on in the halls of Mission PD, and it wasn't only the captains. There was a lot of officers talking. We're just trying to figure out what happened and how to deal with something like that.
Okay. Was Captain Ruth punished for her behavior at the mayor's office?
Like I said, I've not had a conversation with her ever since she's placed herself on indefinite suspension. I've not seen her since then. What we agreed on is it was pretty unprofessional. There'll be disciplinary action out of it, and on top of it, an apology to the mayor's office.
Okay. Given the public nature of the incident and how it's become public, is that apology going to be offered in the public as well?
Well,
Answer that if you want to, but you don't have to.
the matter happened in private, and it should say in there, in my opinion, as far as between the Captain Ruth and Mayor Thorbred. But as far as the PD and the mayor's office, that's a more broad conversation that they can speak on.
Chat. Cheers, chat.
If you'll, let me see here.
Gonna find my bottle opener. Excuse me.
Flop, Eric, are there additional questions that you have for the captain that you'd like to cover?
Give me a minute to review my notes. I just need about a minute.
This might have been answered already, but what was the atmosphere like between the three of you upon exiting the mayor's office?
I can only speak on my kind of state. I was in a state of disarray. I was blindsided and my jaw dropped. That was kind of my
By
reaction.
the actions of the mayor?
Yeah, because like I said, he called us fucks. He was screaming, tell us to get out, call us traitors, captains. He'll have our badges. I'll have our job in a week, things like that. I mean, everything kind of came out. Everything kind of came out. Any kind of insult you can think of probably came out as far as what happened. So it was just, that's kind of the best way I can describe it.
You said you don't recall majority of the, like, whatever back and forth statements were made upon leaving.
And like I said, I recall Turner and Ruth talking behind me, but like I said, I was just in a disarray as far as what was happening. That when I, focused back in, my mentality was we do not stoop down to the level. We do not act immature. We do not say immature things, and we don't play this kind of childish game. And being the same is no better. And I just kept saying that over and over to the other captains to understand that, hey, this is not how we deal with things.
Understood.
I do actually have a question. I don't believe it's been touched up on yet. The meeting that happened with the mayor, was this a scheduled meeting?
It was kind of on the fly. The stars kind of lined up, and all captains were able to show up. I was not planning on being that late. I was speaking with Turner at the city hall, and when the mayor does, he does a little announcement where people come over and they want to talk to him, and we brought some PD members to provide security detail, right, to make sure that he does feel protected while also having conversation on the side so we can cop stack. And that's when Ruth got in duty. We'll come over here, come to the city hall. Let's talk about this, right? Let's actually have a conversation about this rough draft of the PD legislation. And that's how things kind of transpired.
Okay. If this was brought up already, I do apologize. But based on what you can recall, how long did that meeting last inside of the mayor's office?
At least 20 minutes.
Okay. When the conversation ended, did the meeting end and you guys left, or were you guys subsequently, for lack of a better term, kicked out?
We were kicked out. We were walking back to the garage so we can go in our separate vehicles and meet a Mistro PD and make a PD announcement about what happened. Because as soon as we got back, we discussed the conversation to the whole PD to make them understand, okay, this is what happened, here's what transpired, and here's our concerns, and here's what happened with Captain Ruth. Because I felt like at the moment we had to be very transparent, because the last thing we want is to have it come off as a cover-up for what transpired. To the mayor saying, well, they said this, and us saying, no, this never happened, right? And I think that's the last thing we want to have in the PD. So we want to make sure that we wanted to give our perspective, or the captain's perspective as far as what happened, and make sure that anything that did transpire was there on paper.
Okay. I think I'm good for my questioning. Xavier, I don't know if you have anything you want to bring up after our questions.
Just a couple of things I want to touch upon. Captain Slacks, we talked about integrity at the beginning. Do you think that Captain Turner has integrity?
You can answer that if you want to, but you do not have to.
All the captains do. If they don't have integrity, they shouldn't have a badge.
So you also believe Captain Ruth has integrity?
1,000%. If she did not have integrity, she shouldn't have respect. She shouldn't have those values in the LSPD. She wouldn't be a captain. She wouldn't be part of the LSPD.
Have you ever seen characteristics or attributes of being vindictive or seeking revenge from Captain Ruth?
I'm not here to speculate as far as things like that.
I'm not asking you to speculate. Have you ever witnessed it?
I wouldn't call it vindictive. I'd call it a different approach to disciplinary action.
Can you explain on that?
Being more harsh, being more straight to the point as far as, okay, you fucked up. Here's you're being punished for it. Do better.
Have you ever seen her seek revenge?
Define revenge, because what does seeking revenge mean?
Well, you've done something to me. I'm going to do something to you.
I don't think I've ever seen her do anything like that. No, I don't think I have ever examined behavior of revenge. Like I said, I think she's somebody who's by the book, somebody who's very textbook and likes to follow the rules.
That's all the questions that I have for now. Captain Slacks, we will let you know if we have any additional questions or need any additional follow-up. I would ask that between now and when we speak with Captain Turner, if you could refrain from speaking or letting him know any of the questions that we've asked you about, including specifically the questions about the security detail in particular, it would be greatly appreciated.
I will not speak with anybody about this regarding this conversation because that would affect the integrity of the investigation and y'all trying to do your job. I would never get in the way of doing that. What we discussed stays here and it stays on the record. And if Turner has any questions, you can ask Flop, yourself, or Barrick regarding it.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right. It's going to be 3 a.m. EST. Local time is going to be 17:54. San Andreas time, local time. This is going to be, what did I say, recording number 3, I believe, is going to be concluded.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you again, Captain Slacks.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your professionalism and your integrity.
Of course, I appreciate y'all, seeking justice.
Oh,
I appreciate
when will
y'all.
Captain Slacks get his phone back?
We didn't have a chance to go through it because of the interrogation. I did tell him that within the hour I will have it back to him. He should have it back within 30 minutes. I just want to go through specifically the date of the events and go from there. I should be wrapped up very soon.
No problem. I just I hadn't heard, and I wanted to make sure that he would be able to get that before he went back to sleep.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Needs it.
Understood. I'm sure he'll have it at the conclusion of the court case.
He will. Yeah, I'll be there to support, and I think that'll be a good time to finish up some of my paperwork anyway. So I will be there and sort of go from there.
All right. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you.
all.
I guess technically I need one of you guys to let me out.
Yeah, all good. I'll let you at the back door if that works.
Sure, that's fine. Thank you, Flop.
I appreciate it. I know this was a lot. I know there's a lot to take in. I do appreciate you coming through and helping out with it. It doesn't feel good for anybody, obviously, but we're doing what we got to do.
No, and I understand that, because the captain is involved, that, more transparency is needed than less. So I understand that. I just wish the stars hadn't aligned for this to happen right before my trial. But
yeah. Well, you have a half hour. If you want to go take care and do that, I will see you in a half hour anyway. And if you have any questions for me, you can always reach out.
yes, no problem. Thank you. And yeah, I didn't call you just because, I appreciated the information that you gave me, but I didn't want to confine you to court for just, 1 or 2 questions. So, but thank you for being willing. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I will be there. If you change your mind, I'll be there. But I'm mainly going there to be more in support for yourself and Desmond and Clover. So that will be happening.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. All
Absolutely.
right. We'll see you later, Flop.
Yep, sounds good. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Well,
I think it went well. What do you think, Flop?
I think it went really well. I think the stuff regarding the security stuff, based on what Slack said, could definitely open up another charge.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but you know, that's just the way it goes.
I'm not feeling the treason as much right now, if I'm being honest with you. But again, we've only got one perspective, right? That wasn't the mayor's or Siobhan's. So I'm not decision made at all. And I would also want to hear out of Ruth's mouth how she meant it, right?
Sure.
But I mean, I agree. Like I'm feeling less like treason, which is a good thing. I don't really want to see a PD captain accused of a capital crime, if I'm being honest with you, if it didn't happen. But I am feeling more strongly on the security detail thing now.
Sure.
But we're going to continue pursuing this on the treason bit, and we'll just keep that as a potential side charge, and we'll see where it leads us. But yeah, this is interesting. Might mean we also need another interrogation.
All good. Here's an interesting one. I'm going through his text messages right now. I want to get his phone back to him before the trial in 25 minutes. 5 days ago, Ruth did text Slacks and state, "We need to talk before the panel." That's it.
Before the panel.
I don't know what panel. The only other text between her and
it's probably Cornwood's panel.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah, nothing.
If you just want to ask him about that and just confirm that that's the panel we're thinking of.
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
It was 5 days ago. I'm sorry. I'm very much enjoying this because it's Cat Rude texting Slack saying in all caps, "You make Cornwood an FTO. What were you thinking?"
Who said that?
Captain Rude.
I remember her getting on her phone as soon as that was announced.
Yeah.
As soon as Cornwood got up in front of the meeting and announced that, and I was like, she definitely messaging somebody.
Yeah,
texting somebody.
That was well before.
Yeah,
that's
Cornwood's panel thing was on the 26th, apparently. So
that lines up.
Yeah, that lines up.
Pretty much lines up.
So nothing from Captain Ruth. I'm assuming Captain Turner is the other one to look at. Let me see. 3 days ago. Let's see what this photo is.
On treason, for treason, you have to either like annex something or incite others. So if they never actually talked about it after she said it, kind of hard to say that she incited anybody. I think inciting someone takes probably more than one act. Maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So everything between Turner and Slacks, nothing. The only thing that was brought up that was the invitation to the wedding and just about 73 dots from Captain Turner. And then it says, "Must be the wrong number."
Invitation to Siobhan's wedding?
Yeah. Because I got one too. And even I was like,
apparently I swear I remember him saying he was getting married or something. And the entire PD was invited.
Yeah. Is there anyone else besides Slacks and Turner?
I would say
or
if
sorry,
you want
Ruth and Turner that you would want me to go through?
It would be I'm gonna say he gave us consent. I don't want to abuse that, but I would say if you want to just briefly check messages with other officers going back to when that happened, if he talked about it with anybody else, because that could be acts of inciting that treason, right? If he's echoing what she said.
How many days ago was the 24th ish?
A week, unfortunately.
Only a week ago.
Right? Pretty sure.
Second come down PD. Hospital should be free. I'm looking at Nakota right now. feel like the liaison would be a good one to talk to or look at. Meet in person. Nothing there. Who is this? Okay, that's Grace. I'll check Bones. Captain's office, are they okay? Speaking of warrants, blah, blah, blah. Time frame, nothing there. I don't think there's much here. I don't think I'm going to see much here. I'm going to go through some of the seniors real quick and just make sure.
Okay.
Dwayne Carter, Michael Hemsworth, both put in PD applications for shift 2. No shit. Dwayne Carter is a name I haven't heard of in a minute.
Hey, Mr. Carter.
That's a
Sorry.
good song. No, you're good. Anyone else? I'm gonna check Chief Justice Crane, actually. Let's see what he said.
Yeah, that's good if you messaged anything about that.
Let's see what this photo is. That was a month ago. Document updated for PD High Command. Let me know, blah, blah, blah. Language changes, soften the language. We'll take a look. Thank you for an update. All good, which I'm assuming is the change that was made to legislation. And anyone else come to mind, Barrick, that you think? What was that?
No. Say maybe the mayor, but I don't know.
The mayor in the Slacks text? That would be interesting.
I don't know. Mr. K texted just out of the blue 22 days ago. Mr. K said it's important. And 3 days ago, just out of the blue, Mr. K texted him and just said scumbag piece of shit.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Let me
Wow,
see.
how the relationship changed in 23 days.
Yeah. Let's see. McNulty. Let's see. Captain's office. Nothing. Okay. I'll be honest. It doesn't look like he operates on his phone very often.
Yeah, because he's just on the phone.
Yeah, he just takes fucking phone calls. He don't got time to text like me. Let me check Alice real quick and then go from there. Let's see. Nothing. Yeah, there's nothing jumping out. I have no problem calling this consent and just saying that there's nothing here to really look at. I've checked Chief Justice Crane, most of the seniors that he would be seeing, all the captains. Nothing is prevalent to state that there is any consistency in his text messages, other than, I guess, not really anything, to be blunt.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I don't think that ruins our chances of subpoenaing Ruth's records.
No, I don't think so.
We still want to know, because she's the one that made the statement. Did she reach out to anybody to further incite that?
Mm-hmm.
So I still think I want to get Turner's statement or interrogation done, but I think other than that, this is good for now.
Yeah, we should probably aim to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do
Ideally.
that tomorrow. That's fine.
Yeah. And then try and get in contact with Ruth and do hers Monday.
I'm fine with that.
Gotcha.
You
All right.
guys can set up the one with Ruth and just give me a time, and I'm gonna do my damnedest to make it.
Yeah, we'll try and make it within a reasonable hour, probably around the time when I maybe when I get on duty, because it's very hard for me to be around prior. I can do my best, but
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, awesome. I think we're good. I think we'll go from there and follow through.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, let me go find out where Slacks
Sure.
is, because poor him probably doesn't have a fucking phone right now. Let me go bug him. Give me just a sec. No, Slacks. Where'd he go?
Checking.
Where'd he go?
I do. The
Flags? I
MRPD
don't know.
garage.